Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 6 of the Endless Bobbin Kaffe layer cake series. Guess what? Today we are going to finish this quilt top. I'm so excited. Hi, Christina. Hi, Janelle. It is a bit cooler here today. It's in the upper 70s. It rained early this morning. You know, if you're a mushroom hunter, you know what that means. But come Sunday or Monday, it's going to turn off really hot here again. So, you know, all that, I'm looking forward to about a month from now for me to go mushroom hunting when it's much cooler and all that fun stuff. Okay. That being said, I have to construct, today I'm going to construct my inner and outer borders and attach them to my quilt top. So, here's the top as just a refresh reminder. I'm not going to hold it all up because you'll never see it all. This is a big top, everybody. It ended up measuring 83 by 83 without borders. So, there's a preview of it. Okay. So I'm going to set this to the side. Excuse me. And I have my measurements wrote down in my journal. This is where I figured, you can see my pin scratching right here. That's how I figured out what size cuts to make. And I will be honest, I also used Electric Quilt 8 and plugged in the numbers to get the exact cut measurements for this size. I'll have to do some videos on that at some point because it's an awesome program and I use it a lot in my quilt making. It's really helpful to figure out what size actual border pieces to pre-cut. So, all of that being said, let me get some coffee in me. And again, I'm doing all of this on the Euphoria. So my inner border, we're going to get that assembled and cut first. I cut across the width of the fabric. This was off of yardage. 3-inch wide strip is what I made. Okay, 3 inches wide. And I'm going to cut, I have my measurements written down here for me to cut with. But I cut 8 of these strips, and then just like I was doing binding, I mitered the join together. See there. And I have one more strip to add to this, and then I'm going to measure off my length and cut them. So I'm going to swap to my other camera so you can get a better view of what I'm doing. Good morning, Karen. Okay, so let's swap to our other camera. There we go. But like I was saying, this is my inner border. This is all cake fabric. So the width of my strips for my inner border are 3 inches. And what I'm doing, I have all my measurements written down in my book right here. So I know exactly what length to cut these border pieces. Okay. So I have one more to go. I got one more strip to add to this long one. And then I'm going to cut out my 4 pieces for my inner border. And all I'm going to do here, I'm going to lay this right sides together so it crosses like this. And then I'm going to sew from this corner to this corner. I'm going to come over here and I'll get a close-up camera so you can see why I am doing that. And Karen, I am mitering simply because I feel it makes for a much flatter stitch. It spreads out the bulk of that seam. It spreads out the bulk of the seam. I think it lays flatter. That's my personal preference. And let me swap this other camera so you can see what I'm doing here. There we go. Get you a little closer. So what I'm doing here, hold on. Here we go. So what I'm doing here, I'm laying down, this is my piece here that I've got all the other strips sewn to. I'm taking my new piece. Hold on. There we go. Hi, Linda. And I'm going to lay this down over the top like so. Okay. And the idea here is to put the selvages past the edge of the fabric, because then it will be trimmed off. So there's what I've kind of made like a little cross there. See that? That's how I have it laid. And now I'm going to sew from this corner to that corner. Okay, so my needle will go in like this, right there. Now my needle is lined up where the inside corner of these two different pieces of fabric meet. And then I'm just going to line it up and sew it to this corner here. Remember that red mark on my tape? That's my needle position. So here we go. And what I did that across all 8 of these strips of fabric. Okay. All 8 strips I have sewn together like this. And then I'm going to trim off the excess. Check it out. Snip it up. And about 1/4 inch away from that seam line, just going to cut it. Here you would have the option of pressing the seam open or to the side. I'm just going to go for it. There we go, and then there's that join. I just think it makes a much more attractive join myself. I like doing the miter. When I'm connecting long strips together for borders, I always do a miter instead of a straight seam. Okay, now then, I also need to cut. This is where I'm going to start cutting for my length and measuring. So I'm going to give that a square cut also. I don't want any of I do not want any selvage in this piece. There we go. There we go. So next, and I'll go back to another rule. You can see I have me a yardstick here, and this is what I'm going to use to measure with. And I have some straight pins. Okay. I'll use that to help me mark. And I first need to cut 2 pieces 83.5 inches in length. My quilt top measures 83 by 83. So that extra 1/2 inch is actually 4. Is that right? That is correct. Wait a minute, maybe it's not correct. Let me think here. Nope, that is correct. And all I'm going to do here, I'm just going to line this edge up with my yardstick. You can see right here. And I'm going to put a pin in it for 1 yardstick length, which is of course 36 inches. 36 inches. I'll do this first one kind of close up like this, but then I'm going to swap back to my other camera. So you get the idea with that. Let's go to the other camera. You'll be able to see more of what I'm doing that way. There we go. Now then, I'm going to put the pin at the 0. So that's 36. This will be 72. Grab me another pin. Right there. Now then, I need to cut it at 83.5, which would be 72 from 83.5 is 11.5 inches. So right here on my 11.5 inch mark on my yardstick, I'm going to move that, put that final pin at that mark, and that is where I will cut. Okay, there it is. That pin there, oops, that pin there is where, oops, that pin there is where I'm going to make my cut. This is for my inner board. I know, Mark, it's been a journey, dude. I tell you. The last couple of months has been rough on me getting to do my lives again. Technology hates me sometimes, and it's that's the way it's been here lately. So I'm going to just cut that. Okay, so there's one. I have to have two of those. I have to have two of those. There's 36 inches. Then we'll do another yard. And I'm not stretching my fabric on this ruler. I just want it to lay flat with no stretching. Here is 72 inches now. That pin right there, there's 72. And now I need to add 11 and a half to get my 83 and a half inch length. Right there. Okay, there's my cut. That's where I'll cut. Take my pins back out. Come here, you. I'm also listening for the FedEx truck. I have some parts coming from Baby Lock that I ordered for my long arm. Ordered the rear handlebars, woohoo, and a stylus and a Groovy board. Okay, so there are those two. Then I need to cut two more at 88 and a half. 88 and a half inches. I need two of those. And then I'll have my four borders for my inside borders all cut. One. There's two. Now then, so that's 72. And to get it up to 88 and a half, the measurement needs to be 80, 72, 88, 16 and a half inches is where I'll need to make my cut. 16 and a half, just right here. Okay. I need to cut one more like this, and I'll have all my inside borders cut and ready to be sewn together. And boy howdy, I don't think I've made it. I don't think I cut enough 3/8 strips. We're going to see here real soon. It looks a little short. I thought that would have done it, but maybe not. I may have to go cut one more strip of fabric. I do. Okay, I'll be right back. I'm going to put up the intermission screen, but I will be right back, everybody. Okay. Okay, everybody. Right here. There we go. Okay, I'm back. So, Coralie, a Groovy board is a flat board that lays on the back bed of a long arm, and with a stylus attached to the carriage of the long arm. It's actually a pattern, a quilting pattern. So you follow the groove in the board with the stylus, and you end up stitching an edge-to-edge design on your quilt in the frame. I hope that made sense. That will probably be delivered while I'm live, and I will just open my box and show everybody what I'm talking about. There's literally hundreds of designs you can get for that. So, and I have got to sew together this other strip onto here. Hold on. Let's get that other. You know what? Wait a minute now. No, not that one. That's ones I've already cut there. Okay. I was about ready to make a big old boo-boo. Okay, so let me go ahead and splice this one on. Then I'll trim it. There's lots of places to get those Groovy board designs. We are going to start manufacturing here in our studio our own, and that will be happening. I should have my first pattern boards created with my designs come closer to the holiday season. Okay, now let's measure off 88.5, which would be 2 yards plus 16.5 inches. Now that's just for my quilt. If you were adding your own, if you were doing your own borders, you would have to actually measure your own quilt to get these numbers. You couldn't just go by the numbers I'm giving you. Okay. Here's 36. Then we'll put one in at 72. This is how I measure. Now, in all honesty, if I was not doing this on camera, I'd be at my large cutting table doing this, because I have a huge cutting mat on it, and it just makes it easier and faster to do. It's just not able to put a camera by it where it's at. Okay. Now, 16.5. Just right here. And there's a leftover scrap for another project. Okay. There's my two long borders right there. Okay. So next I have to make my outer border. Now if you'll recall, the jelly roll quilt top I made out of one roll of Kaffe jelly roll fabric, I spent yesterday I cut that quilt top into 6-inch wide strips across all the strips to get this piano keyboard style 6-inch wide border. Okay, but in that I had some fabrics that were the same fabric right next to each other. So what I did, I went and ripped the strips, the long strips down, so there were no repeated fabrics. Coralie, I think you might be able to use them on a cutie frame. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not familiar with the cutie frame, but if a cutie frame has a carriage that the Allegro sits on, I think you could. I'm just not familiar with that frame to tell you 100% for sure. Coralie, do you have an Allegro? Okay, so let me do some math in my head here. Since these were 2.5-inch strips, that's basically 2 inches here. Okay, so I need to cut now. I need to cut these at 88. Is that right? Yes. At 88 inches. So that would be 40, 88 would be 44 strips times 2. Awesome, Coralie. I'm having one delivered to me to here in my studio for myself tomorrow. It will be here tomorrow. I will probably be doing Feature Friday on the Allegro, just so you know. Okay, so I'm going to start sewing these together, and I think I'm just going to get all my strips sewed together into one long piece and then count them down and then rip them apart where I need to rip them apart. I hope that made sense. Oh, wonderful, Coralie. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I have a pile now of these pieces. Some are long, some are much shorter. I'm just going to combine these all into one super long strip and then cut it down, not cut it, but rip out the seams for my, like this would be 44 inches. Well, next, Coralie, you need a serger. Next, you have a good one. You have some great machines there. A serger would be awesome, though. Excuse me. Okay, so, and I'm going to be cognitive that I don't put 2 strips close together that kind of have the same pattern repeat, if that makes sense. I just want to spread it out as much as possible. So I'm going to put these 2 together right here. Just going to randomly pick some and throw them in here. Not throw them, but sew them together. Let's see here. That kind of matches too much to that end, so let's do a different one. Here we go. This will work. Well, Coralie, what I'm sewing on right here is the Euphoria. It's the cover stitch only machine, and I use it to piece with, okay? It's also great to do embellishing with. You can do what I call serger embroidery with this machine. Let me go grab a sample so everybody can tell what I'm talking about. Quilted this, and I still have to put the binding on it. That's probably what I'm going to be doing tomorrow night is binding. I got a bunch of samples to take with me next week to the Baby Lock convention, and this is one of my serger samples, but there you go. This is all 12 and 8-weight thread run through the looper on the Euphoria here to create this beautiful what I call serger embroidery. These are just 12-inch squares of fabric with this decorative threads cut across them to make that pattern in it. Serger embroidery, everybody. And you can do it with this machine. You can do it with the Triumph or the Ovation. But if you have an Accolade or an Evolution, very difficult because you need this big throat space in order to easily be able to do this. Okay. Okay, now we're back to this. Let's see what this ended up being. No. Okay, that's for later. That works. That'll do good right there. And when I say serger, everybody, even this cover stitch machine is technically part of the serger family. So this machine does cover stitch. And some of the other machines, such as the Acclaim and the Victory, and they only do overlock. But then machines like the Triumph, and before that was the Ovation, Accolade, Evolution, those 8-thread sergers, they do both cover stitch and overlock both. Okay, we'll save that one for a little later. And that can go right there. I'm just going to have one super long section of these piano keys. That is what they call this, is piano keys, by the way. Move my mouse, that's what keeps beeping. It was rubbing up against the bottom of the serger under the table here. Well, Coralie, tell them that I was talking about it and that I said for them to give you the Richard discount. I'm being serious. Where do you live at, Coralie? What's your local shop? Who's your local shop owners? Just curious. This machine right here, Coralie, the Euphoria. Yeah, I use it. I mean, I use it. I'm a quilter. I use it to piece with. If it's not complicated piecing, I guess that's what I should. If I was doing like a mariner's compass, I'd use a sewing machine because that's all paper piecing. Quality sew and back. Okay. Oh, you're out in Washington State then, right? I think that's where they're at. So there's just a little piece there I'd cut off. Yes, out in Puyallup. Wonderful. Yes, so you go in there and you tell Paul or Reba that Richard said for you to give them the friends and family discount. I love Puyallup, Washington. I'm hoping I get to go this. I hope I get to go out there next year. Wasn't able to go this year. I think I'm going to put that piece on right there. I will probably see some of them from Quality in St. Louis next week for the Baby Lock convention. They usually have someone that comes to that. No. Oops. Let's see here. Okay. We'll do it this way. Nope. We'll do this way. Puyallup. It's so beautiful out there. I love that. I love the Seattle area. I truly do. Seattle is where I actually flew to get on my cruise ship for my Alaskan cruise I took. Well, it's been a while back now. Oh my gosh, boy, how time flies. That was probably 15 years ago. One of my all-time favorite cruises I've been on, though, was that cruise. It was awesome. I always thought it'd be cool and fun to live in Seattle on a houseboat. I could totally get into that. And let's see. No. May not use those little pieces. There we go. That'll work. So these two together. Once I get this all sewn together, I'll only have 4 seams for these little short seams to rip out. Maybe 5, I don't know. Something like that. Yeah, so I've started counting how many different Kaffe fabrics I'm going to have in this quilt top. And my last count was approximately 63 different Kaffe fabrics. Okay. Got a little bit more here to put on here. Set that to the side. If I need the real short ones, I'll put them on. But I think I'll have leftover pieces on this. I think. Let's see here. That one can go there. I have a special little area where I keep my Kaffe scraps. They have their own special resting place. That way it's easy to pull them out and get them going in with another project. Okay, that was a long one there. Let's get that one put on. Woohoo, look at that. Let's put that long one on there next. We'll go there, right there, like so. Oops. Oop, I made a boo-boo there. That was folded over and I did not realize it. But that's okay. I caught it quick enough. It's not going to hurt anything. It'll be easy to cut out of there. There we go. Now then, let's give that another go. There we go, right here like this. Okay. Now then, where back was that? Right there. Right here. See what the other end looks like. I'm going to set these to the side. If I have to work them in, I will once I get some of these ripped apart. So now, I need 2 units with 44 strips, okay? So I'm going to take my time, I'm going to count these and then rip the seam line apart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, and I need 44. 1, 2, 3, 4. So right here's where I would rip. And since my quilt is perfectly square, that's why the numbers are fairly even that I'm using. So there's one. I need another one with 44 strips in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. If I fold it over in half, I'm going to cheat this time. Right there. Right there. Then we'll have to count everyone. Right there. Right there. Right there to right there, there's 40. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 44, so we're going to rip. Let me think here for a minute. Yes. Need two. This is going to be my two. I hadn't really thought about the corners on this outside border. I'm doing squares, I'm not doing miters. Let me think. I could cut just a square of fabric for each of the four corners. Let me think. I think that might be what I wants to do. Okay, there's two. Now I have two more to go. So let me think here for a minute, everybody. I'm thinking. Let me have a sip of coffee here. If I'm going to put a square of fabric in each corner, all four of these need to be the exact same size. Right? Right. Let me think what Kaffe fabric I have that would look good in the corners. Ooh, I have some really cool piece of vintage millefleur. But it's really not the same color value. It's more golds and everything, so that really wouldn't be quite right. Ooh, but I have a big box. So let me go grab my part of my Kaffe stash and figure this out before I make any more cuts. Okay. This box, a Kaffe quilt kit, came in for his 20 years with Rowan. But this is what I keep Kaffe fat quarters and stuff like that in. So I could use any of these for a 6-inch square of fabric in each corner. And I think that's what I am going to do. I don't really want to use these beautiful polka dots. So I'm going to set those. I already know I'm not going to use those. I also have some yardage in here as well. That would kind of blend in with those colors. That's a possibility. There's a lot of those colors in this that are in here. It's too dark. There's some green millefleur. Let's see here. No. Well, I like this. This is like that guinea fabric. Isn't that pretty? But that would be too. No. I like it, but no. Ooh, 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 ooh. Hold on. Here we go. These are just like some third to half yard cuts. No on that. So far, I'm going to go with this, unless I come across something else here. No. No. I like that, but not for this. That might be actually, that might be what I use for the binding, though. We'll see. Ooh, this would look nice. Look at that. That's a possibility. No, it's too bright. And it's got too much black in it for this one. Already said no to those. Yeah, so got it narrowed down to one of these two fabrics right here. So let's just audition these in a corner to see what they would look like with that actual border fabric. Okay. Let me grab this. Move my camera a little bit so you get a better view of what I'm doing here. Here we go. Okay. Now then, if I use this, this would be the outside corners, if whatever I use here. So that would basically go like that, and that would basically go like that. Okay. And this would go in here. This would go right here. Okay. These are my borders. That actually looks better than I thought it would. I like this. Let's see what my other choice I decided on would look like. Where did I put that? There it is. Okay. Or that. That. Or that. That or that. That? No, it's going to be this. I love these colors. And these colors are scattered throughout the entire quilt. So I'm going to use that fabric right there. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to go in the other room and I'm going to cut me 4 6-inch squares of this. I'll be right back. Wonderful. The FedEx truck just came, so I'll get that Groovy board out. We're going to take a brief intermission. Give me 5 minutes, and I'll be back. Let me do this. Okay. Be right back. Okay, everybody, I'm back. It wasn't quite 5 minutes, but let's see here. There we go. Okay. So I have me 4 squares of fabric cut for my corners. Okay. And I had that much. It was like a half a yard cut, so I'm going to put my excess back in my box. Okay. Come on, you. Get in there. There we go. Okay. Oops. And just go ahead and get that closed. Thank you for the input on those fabric choices. Okay, it's always good to have a second eye. Always. Okay, so now then. Where am I? Those were already cut. So now I know, since I'm going to do the solid squares in the 4 corners of the outer border, I just have to cut all 4 pieces like this will be the exact same size, so that makes it easy peasy. So each one will be 44 strips. Okay, just get this going again. Okay, 44 strips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2. Double that will be 44. Let me get these ready to go, and then we'll take a look at that Groovy board that just came via FedEx. Okay, there's 44 right there. Oops. Must be that one didn't rip apart so easily because that is a serger line of sewing. The other pieces of this strip, when I made it, I did it on a sewing machine. It was much easier to rip out that way. And yes, I know I could reach around and pull. Let's see if that's the right way there. The great thing about using the chain stitch on the cover stitch machine, it does make it easier to pull out a line of stitching. You just have to separate the 2 threads. And it has to be on the end of a stitching line for it to work. Hold on. And honestly, in here in my current video studio, there's bright lights, but no bright up close lights. This is kind of hard for me to see. So that's why I struggle a little bit, just so you know. Here we go. I think that might do it. Or not. Okay. Anyway. With my eyesight, I really need my lighted magnifying lens light to do this easily. But it does really come out super easy on the serger. On the chain stitch. But this will work too, just a little messier. And did you know that I didn't know this until recently, so I'm starting to replace them. Seam rippers get dull, and there's no way to sharpen those, so once they get dull, toss them and get you a new pair. That's something I learned just very recently. Okay. Then we'll do one more at 44. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Double it to make 44. Double it over to make 44 strips. I knew I would have left over, that's why I didn't sew every bit of it all back together. Right there. Okay, this is excess, so I'll put that to the side. Now then, I'm getting a drink of my coffee here, and then we'll have a look at that Groovy board. The Groovy board I ordered, this is right here. It has two sizes. Here are the designs. Colonial wreath. Okay, there's one board in here. Let's open that up. So what would attach to the carriage on a long arm would be a plate with like a metal pin stylus that points down, and that stylus would actually ride right inside the grooves on this pattern board, also known as a Groovy board. Take this off. Ouch. But this is not edge to edge, but they have tons of designs for edge to edge quilting. But this would be useful in, say, maybe you wanted to put a feathered wreath inside of a neutral space in between piecing, and think Irish chain, think, you see what I'm getting at there, blah blah blah. Come on, you. So you could use these on any type of long arm as long as your frame, and specifically the carriage that your machine will sit on, would have space for one of those styluses. That's an attachment for your carriage. But there it is right there. And this has a divot in it. I mean, these are carved out, so that pin would actually run in between there. It'd just be like tracing that out with that stylus to do all your quilting. This is a single continuous line of quilting all the way around. But this is what a pattern board, also known as a Groovy board, this is what they are called. So Coralie, you would have to look to the manufacturer of your cutie frame to see if that's a possibility for you. Doesn't matter what the machine head is, it matters whether the frame, your quilting frame, can support that. Okay. Go away, plastic. Go away. Go away. Oh, that plastic has a lot of static cling to it. Let go. Oh my goodness. There it went. There it went. Okay. It did not want to turn loose. Okie dokie. Now, two of my border strips, only two of them, I'm going to go ahead and attach these squares onto each end of two strips. Okay. Hi, Vanessa. Okay, let's get these sewn on. Let me bring this back up some. There we go. On one end. Now we'll put one on the other end. So that one is complete. I have to do that to one more of my border strips. So this one strip has my 6-inch squares sewn onto each end. And I need 2 units like this. There we go. This is the same strip. Okay. So I'll set that to the side. I'll grab another one. That one will go right there. Yes, Coralie, I'm pretty sure, I know Grace used to make their own line of Groovy boards. So something tells me that you can probably get that type of attachment for your frame. And there's many places to buy those boards at. You can get them on Etsy, you can get them at Urban Threads. I should say Urban Elements. Lots of places to buy those design boards, those pattern boards, Groovy boards. Handy Quilter makes them, tons of places to get those. That's what long armors used before robotics became more readily available, and some people still use them instead of having the robotics. You do have to have somehow what is called rear handlebars for your machine, because you have to stand at the back of the long arm frame when you use those. I hope that makes sense. Okay, those two are done. I'm ready to start sewing borders on. Let me give me a sip of my coffee here. Now I'm going to pin/clip my borders on and fit them in to make sure everything is kosher before I actually stitch them down. But by pre-measuring your borders, like I just did, where everything is cut nice and square, it is totally going to be perfectly square once it is sewn together. Okay. Ralph. There's my quilt top. Let me just try to give a little bit wider view on this, maybe. That's as wide as it goes. Just move the camera back some. There we go. There we go. This will give you a much better view. I'll put my yardstick away because I don't, and this is not a quilter's yardstick. I got this one at Menards. It's all good. Just as long as they're accurate, that's all that's important on a yardstick. Okay. Now let me think where my wonder clips are. I'll be right back. I'm going to stick up that intermission sign for just a moment. And I'll be right back. It won't be 5 minutes. Alrighty. There we go. So I have me in my little fabric bowl of wonder clips, and I must get one of my edges. All these edges are the same size. So first we're going to do our solid inner borders. I'm actually going to, once I get one clip, I'm going to go ahead and stitch it down one side at a time, everybody. It's all good. Okay. Corley, I'm not sure what you meant by you, question mark. If you'll elaborate on that, I'd be happy to answer that question. That's right, Donna. I can tell you, I've tried doing the paper pantographs on the back of the long arm, and I'm going to be 100% honest, I am not good at that. It's not pretty, so I don't do that. So I'm playing with the Groovy boards instead. My hand, I don't know what it is, but it's not a pretty picture when I try to do it use a laser light and a paper pantograph. It does not come out nice, and I'm not going to do that. I know my limitations, and that's not my cup of tea. Okay. And actually, I think I will go ahead and do the opposite side too, while I'm taking my time pinning here. Pinning, clipping, I like to use wonder clips. For me, it just seems like it's easier, blah, blah, blah. There we go. It's all good. Do it either way you want to. I personally like to do this with Wonder Clips, where I can make some nice little adjustments and don't have to worry about sticking myself with a straight pin and all that fun stuff. There we go. Okay. No, and I'm just going to do them one at a time. Oh, okay. Let me set this over here out of the way. And we're going to sew down our first border strip. Okay. And I will have the bulk of the quilt on the bottom and my border strips on top. I just find it's easier to... Oh, yes, Coralie. Yes, I did mention those other places. We are in the process of getting equipment set up to make our own line of Groovy boards. So that will be coming in the future. But you can get them numerous places right now. You can order them online. You go to your local quilt shop. If they're a baby lock or handy quilter shop, they should have those. I like Urban Elements. They have a very nice selection of them. And they even sell the stylus adapters and plates and stuff to be able to use them. Once I get mine all set up and everything, I will try to do a video in my long arm area so you can get a good look at what that looks like. But you can go put in Etsy, go to Google, do a Google search on Groovy boards for quilting, and you'll get a lot of information that way. But I do know that I don't know if they sell them for your particular setup, but Urban Elements, they have a section where they make and sell the Groovy boards, and they also sell the hardware you need to add to your frame to be able to use them. Okay, there's one done, one down. Now I've got to go to the opposite side and attach the other one. Let's see here. Just be easier if I put it down on the floor. It's okay, there's hardwood floors in here, so it doesn't like it. You don't get like carpet lit all over it. I just make sure I pick up the right ones here. I think this is it. I'll know once I start clipping. If it's way too long, it's not the right one. haven't tried them on my new long arm. My old long arm, no, it was not. It was a bad experience. Bad experience. And I tried practicing. No, it's just no. I admire anyone who can use those paper pantographs with a laser light. That's some skill. That's a skill set I do not have. And it's okay. We don't have to be able to do everything. That is the correct one. Yeehaw. Come on, you, get on there. There we go. There we go. Now we get that one sewn down. So Donna, the Groovy board stuff, that is for a long arm. You cannot do that on the Swars. Those boards will actually lay on the flat table in behind and underneath the machine carriage. And the Groovy boards, pattern boards, same thing, just a different name. Most any actual long arm that's on a floor frame, you can use those on, just so everybody is clear on that. Okay. Then here's the next side. Here's the next side. Just going to square that up a little bit better than what I had it. There we go. Much better. Mucho better. Okay. Now we'll do our clipping. Let's then sew it down. Oh, absolutely, Donna. Yeah, it's a challenge to do an extremely large quilt on an embroidery machine. It can be done, 100% you can do it, but just managing the bulk alone, even on a great big machine, can be a challenge, and it'll give you a workout and a half, that's for sure. Groovy boards can be used on, I did have the Baby Lock Gallant, which had a 15-inch throat space, and I would consider that more of a mid-arm, but it absolutely, you could absolutely use the Groovy boards on that one even. It just has to be in a frame in order to use them. That's, I guess I could just simplify the whole process down by saying that. Yeah, I mean, finished trimming that up. I didn't get all that trimmed off from that slice. There we go. Okay. Now we'll continue our clippies. Had to trim a little sliver off there to make it just a more perfectly square. It's always a good thing, but when it's square, that's something we have to do. You want it square. There we go. Alrighty. Get this side sewn down. I'll have one more inner border to go, and then we'll put on our pretty piece border of the Veilvande quilt. Okay. these to put on, and we'll have our inner border complete. Oh, I'm sure, Donna, my back is hurting just thinking of it, quite honestly, because I've done that before, and it'll you better have you some ibuprofen standing by afterwards. That's all I'm going to say. Yeah, let me see something here. I'm going to give this one a little bit of a better square. Just a sliver. I know that's me being that P word that I don't like to use, the perfectionist in me. It's all good. Okay. There we go. Okay. Let's get this one put on. Yes, Dawn, I have all those design sweet fills. I will be doing a video on that in the future, yes. And there's some new ones coming out, I think on September the 1st, just in time for the holidays. There's a product I was so happy that came out, because that's one of the perks to owning the Solaris. They are going to always come out with more of those. You can use them in other machines, but you have to have palette in order to transfer them, to do the design in palette and then sew them out on your machine. You know, if you have like the Destiny or the Altair or Meridian. Woohoo! Almost got that one done. We're at the very end of that seam, and our inner border will be complete. Woohoo! That's a good thing. Okay, so there's what that looks like, the inner border now. It is complete. Check it out. There's the inner border. And this will go on the outside edge of it, my piano keys. Alrighty, so next, let's see, I need to attach the two without the corner units next. Okay. Yes, I'm talking myself through it, everybody. Okay, come here, you. There we go. So this is the edge. I'm going to pin / clip to next. And this is a time, don't bypass this step when you're doing these type of borders, because this is how you can fit it in, fit the border to make sure everything is going to be work good and fit well before you actually stitch it down. Plus, once you do this, it's much easier to manage the bulk after you have all these layers secured. Gosh, I hope that made sense. You can use straight pins, or you can do what I'm doing and use these little wonder clips. It's all good. Do it whichever way you like to do it. Perfect. Yeehaw. Perfect fit. I like it when it happens like that. Okay. Let's get this first one sewn on. Give me a sip here. My coffee. Okay. So everybody, we are 4 seams away from having this quilt top complete. However, once I get the borders attached, I am going to do stay stitching around the edge so all that piecing does not come undone. And I'll talk more about that once we get to that step. Okay. Taking my time, making sure my raw edges are all lined up. While on a sewing machine, sometimes I will sew over a pin. Excuse me. On a sewing machine, if I'm using a fine straight pin, I will just stitch over it. You never want to sew over pins on any type of serger machine. it's not going to be a happy camper. Just because of the different mechanics involved. And especially if you're doing overlock, there's a knife blade involved. Cover stitch only, no knife. 3-thread, 4-thread overlock, a knife is used to trim fabric. Yes, Donna, that only works on the Solaris. Okay, it does not work on any of the other machines. That is a Solaris only feature. To the end of this line, literally, and through this whole process I have not had to wind or change one bobbin. I haven't had to put on new thread, and there's a lot of seams in this quilt, a lot of seams. When I say in the description, endless bobbin, I do mean, and it's endless as far as to a cone of thread. So what I mean by that, there is the bobbin on this machine, that big thing of thread. Oh, Linda, I did that off camera. I measured it off camera, and then I put those measurements into electric quilt to determine the size of the border pieces I would have to cut. That's how I did that. So no, I did measure the quilt, and it was square. Yes. I did not do that on camera. I did that off camera. And once you get this inner border attached, since these were pre-cut, then you know it's perfectly square. And my piece seam is square. It was approximately 83.5 by 83.5 was the measurements of what I started with before I started cutting and adding the borders. But no, I did do all of those measurements. You do have to measure it in both directions, at the end and through the middle, and see how square that quilt is. Okay, so repeat that process. 2 pieces that do not have the corner units attached to it. That's what we're doing first. Oh no, Linda. No, you're not having a blonde moment. Only I am allowed to have blonde moments, okay? And I have plenty of them. Funny note, and no, before I say this, there are no photographs. Okay, I have no photographs. But I was platinum blonde back in the late 70s and early 80s. So there you go. If anyone can have a blonde moment, I can. And I've had plenty of them in my life. And I blame that. I don't blame it on anything. I'm joking here. But no, that's what happened when, as a young person, I watched way too much MTV. I decided I had to have platinum blonde hair just like a lot of the rock stars had. So there you go. And I did. I will tell you, my parents were not happy about that. Oh gosh. Okay. It was a perfect fit. Woohoo, I love it when it happens like that. Woohoo. Everything bodes well for it all to come out nice and even. Now I can tell you this also, back to quilting. I quilt a lot of quilts for people, okay? And you know, everyone has different skill levels, and that's the way it's supposed to be. But I can tell you, and even myself, occasionally, I will get out of square in the piecing process, but there's a lot of things, a lot of ways to manipulate a quilt top in a quilt frame to make it look really, really great. And never know that there's mishaps. Lots of little tricks. Woohoo. Alrighty. Almost to the end of that line. I just had 2 more borders to put on, everybody. Woohoo. We're so close to being finished with this, I can taste it. Okay. Now here comes the fun part. I'm going to be very careful that I match these seams where I have my cornerstones. Okay? And what I mean by that is this. I will actually use a straight pin to make sure these 2 seams right here line up perfectly. Okay. I'm going to nest those 2 seams. I'll do the nest. Then I'm going to put that straight pin. Ooh, okay, Coralie. Oh, go take care of that fur baby. Gotta be careful with our fur babies in the heat. Even little dogs like my little Puffin. He doesn't like the heat either. He is sacked out snoring on his little couch right now by the AC vent. But he's not snoring right now for a change. I bet his eyes are opening and he's just listening to what's going on. I know he's thinking, Daddy, hurry up so we can go upstairs and take a nap. Well, that woke him up. He looked at me when I said the N word, nap. He knows what that word means. Oh, Donna, it's already there. If I let it grow out, yeah, it'd be completely platinum. You can tell by the hair on my chinny chin chin. I had people say, well, you used to color your hair. Why don't you color up all that gray? I said, no, I've earned every one of these gray hairs. They are like a badge of honor at this point in my life. They are my trophies. I love my gray hair. Alrighty, almost got this one clipped down. And this quilt top will end up measuring approximately, are you ready? 100 by 100 inches. Yes. 100 by 100 inches. That's a big quilt top, everybody. I have quilted larger ones than that folks have brought in for me to quilt. I think my largest one to date was 118 by 118. That's a big quilt. Even on a long arm, manipulating that much fabric will wear your shoulders out. Just getting it loaded into the frame. Okay. Do one more little minor adjustment right here, and I'm ready to stitch this side down. Oh yes, Coralie, and they also know the word T-R-E-A-T. And my little guy knows what the word C-H-I-C-K-E-N is, because that's his favorite to beg for. He can smell that cooking and come running into the kitchen to play the stare down game. Okay, let's get this border sewn down. Phone has been ringing off the hook. One robocall after another. That's why here in the studio phone, pretty much voicemail always will pick it up. And we do that on purpose, simply because of the high volume of robocalls we get. Sweet Donna. I've always had a fur baby in my life. Even before I knew what a fur baby was. The most exotic pet I've ever owned. Well, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to say pet because I don't consider livestock true pets. But though that was my oh Lord. I'm having a senior moment. Let's see. Oh my gosh, Richard. My ferrets, there we go. The word weasel kept coming to my mind. I said, no, they're not a weasel. They're from that family, but I had twin weasels, twin ferrets. And they were hilarious. Oh my gosh. You could not leave. You'd have to lock up your car keys. To where they could not get a hold of them, or they would hide them. And I know that from experience. Okay, check it out. Look at this corner. Isn't that pretty? Woohoo. Perfect. Love it. One more border to go. Woohoo. Okay. It's up here. Here it is. Come on, you. Oh, I know. I know, Donna. My little one, I'm not going to say his name because it'll wake him up, and he's snoozing real good. He's napping good. He likes to GO in the car to go for rides. He knows what the word GO means. He doesn't know the spelling of it yet. But he hears the GO word, and he gets all kinds of excited over that. And GO anywhere, and he's rip-roaring ready to go. Okay. Well, everybody, this will be my last joining seam on this entire quilt top. I'm so excited to get it done. Once I get this seam done, I am going to elongate my stitch all the way out to a number 4 length. And I'm going to stay stitch around the entire edge of it so that this piece seam, when it's put under pressure, it doesn't pull apart. Apart. If I had pieced the border completely with the serger, I wouldn't be as worried about it, but since it was done on a sewing machine stitches pull out easier than this chain stitch on this machine. Which is yet another reason why I like to piece with the 2-thread chain stitch. Much harder for the piecing to be pulled apart. Aww. Awesome, Cora. I bet they're wanting to go outside, aren't they? Little Puffin. He still didn't wake up. He likes to listen and watch for the FedEx or the UPS truck to come and pull up in front of the house. He can hear those trucks 2 blocks away and he'll start barking. He knows what they sound like. And it's not that he wants to bite or anything. I mean, the only thing you have to worry about Puffin is licking you to death. He gets all excited at the prospect of someone coming inside the house that he can visit with. There. Looks good. All good. Okay, here we go. Oh, Puffy loves to ride in the car. Oh my gosh. It's not even the word for it. He gets so excited to be able to jump up in the car with you and know he's going. Sometimes, even if I'm just going to the post office, I'll take him with me. Because then he gets to go bye-bye. Yeah, I said it. Hello there. He woke up with that word. I knew he would. Watching, I'm sure as most of you have, all the news about Maui, and it's so heartbreaking. Such a tragedy over there. And I had someone call me and said, because they knew I'd spent, almost 2 weeks over there a few years ago, and they said, "Don't you want to go back and see what all that looks like?" And I said, "No, God, no. I want to remember it like it was." Maybe in a few years, when the locals have been taken care of, and to show support that way, yes. And I'm sure I'm going to contact some of my friends. I'm sure there will be a quilt drive for the residents of Maui. I want to make sure I make some quilts to send over there. We all can do our own little part, whatever our little area is that we do, and Actually, when I was over there, I brought home a spirit jar that a local artisan had made. It was Reiku pottery. I purchased a Hawaiian quilt over there that someone had made, and I actually lost that quilt in my hurricane in 2008. The Hawaiian applique is so beautiful. I didn't intend for it at the time, but that spirit jar I will probably actually use as an urn when it's my time for that. Woohoo! Guess what, everybody? There was the last scene. Now, there's no way I can get this big thing all on camera in here, but I will have it on camera at a future time so you can see it in its entirety. But here we go. So, let me swap to a different camera. And then once I hold this up, I've got one more thing to do. I am going to do my stay stitching all around this outside edge. That way it'll stabilize all of these seams around the perimeter of the quilt. But here we go. This will give you a good idea. Let me see here. I get to the right side. There we go. Okay, there we go. But you can see there what that border looks like on that piecing. We'll just go down this way. Okay, so next I'm going to do my stay stitching, and I had my stitch length on about 2.75. I'm going to turn it all the way, my stitch length up to 4 on my Euphoria here, and then I'm going to swap to a different camera. Let me make some room here. Get a sip of my coffee. Okay. And all that is, you can do it since I'm on the Euphoria. I'm going to do my stay stitching on the Euphoria. You can do it on a sewing machine. You wanted about 3 to 4 millimeter stitch length to do stay stitching. And that just stabilizes the entire outside edge perimeter of the quilt. Okay, let's swap to that other camera. There we go. You do an angle adjustment. Okay. And all I'm going to do, this actually stabilizes the edge so it doesn't stretch out of shape and all that fun stuff. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start in one corner and go all the way around the outside edge of it. Approximately a 1/4 inch away from the edge. That way, all of this stitching, you don't have to rip it out. It'll be inside the quilt binding once the quilt is finished. And here we go. Just a sec. Remove my computer mouse. Now I do this to any quilt top that has piecing all the way to the very edge of the quilt. Thank you, Cora Lee. this does, it locks in those seams. So that nothing unravels or gets torn apart and all that fun stuff. Yes, Donna, it does. You know what? I really like a piano keyboarder. I did a batik quilt top with modified 9 patches in it, and I put a piano key on it as well. And it really looks lovely, and they're easy to do. It's not a difficult border to piece, because it can totally be strip pieced. You don't have to cut out each individual rectangle. So it makes it fast, it looks intricate, super easy to do. Super easy to do. But on a quilt top with a lot of piecing in it, just to a solid border around it, I don't think it would have looked right. It needed piecing in it. And especially with this one, because the Kaffe fabric is so bright and bold, yeah, it needed a bold border on it. And that's what it got. Do the next side. That's half of it. See, it doesn't take long to do this. Even when I get a customer quilt in and they have not stay stitched the edge of it, I will actually stay stitch it before I load it into my quilting frame. Because it is not fun when you're long arming and you put a little pressure on it and a bunch of these seams here would pop open. Yeah, not good. And this 100% prevents that from happening. But if you've never thought of using a serger to piece with, oh my gosh, everybody, I'll tell you, if you ever try it, you'll love it. When you see him just doing this, how nice and fast and easy it is and smooth. all of this stitching does not have to be ripped out because it will be encased in the binding. And there we go, 100% complete and ready for the long arm. Woohoo! There we go. Now, I'm going to attempt to hold it up a little bit so you can get a better view of it. Hold on. There, I think. There we go. Hello there. I'm going to go over here and adjust the zoom on that lens so it'll have a wider angle to it. Ow. Ow, ow, ow. Let's see here. There we go. So that camera is actually my DSLR. It's not a webcam. I don't use webcams anymore. But, okay, so this will give you a little bit better view of it, I think. Oh my gosh, you can see it. See more of the border, because look at the border. Isn't it beautiful on there? Just love this. There it is. Corner. Hold on. You know, 100 by 100 inches, that's like 8 feet 4 inches each way. So I'll never be able to hold it completely up, everybody. Just so you know. There we go. There we go. It's a big, beautiful quilt. And that would be one as far as how to quilt it. I would actually just I'll do some type of an edge to edge all over it. Okay. Ooh-wee. So, got that one done. Another quilt top, yay. And tomorrow night, for Feature Friday, the Allegro is supposed to be delivered tomorrow afternoon by FedEx. So we'll be on the Allegro tomorrow night, and I'll be doing quilt binding. And I'm going to attach the dynamic walking foot to that Allegro to do my quilt binding with. So that'll be fun tomorrow night. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6 quilts that need binding right now. Oh my gosh. I didn't realize I had so many until I just said it. But I'm going to be doing my small samples that I'm taking to the Baby Lock Convention next week. Everybody have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you all tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is when Feature Friday is on every Friday night. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I love each and every one of you. I'll see you all tomorrow night. Bye.